Greetings, good storytellers. I'm Jack Fulmer, and this is a channel update. Now, I'm egregiously behind on the usual content. It's been coming up on 2 months since the last video that I put up, and I've been trying to work on different scripts for trope videos, and also for trying to create a channel trailer, because I promised myself that when I finish 25 videos on the channel, I would go ahead and make the obligatory channel trailer to help make this look a little bit nicer, a little bit more professional. But I'm just not happy with the quality of any of these things that I'm doing. I'm just a little bit depressed, and being sick 3 or 4 times over the past 2 months hasn't helped either. And I hate making videos that are just about the fact that you're not feeling well, because I just feel like we all have enough of our own problems, and I don't need to bother you with what I'm going through. And so, even though I've already made a couple videos on anxiety or depression or things like that, I've tried to frame it in a more positive context, in something that does have a helpfulness to it. And I can't do that 100% with this video, but I have been reminded that it is important to share these types of videos. I'm an occasional watcher of Markiplier's channel. He's not one of my favorite YouTubers, but I respect him very much, because even though his wonderful buffoonish sort of air that he puts on, or that he just naturally runs with in some of his like game videos and things like that, while that is very enjoyable, it just doesn't and always scratch that itch that I want from my my gaming channels. But anytime that he makes videos where he's just talking to the camera, where he is telling you about some cause that he's passionate for, that he wants your help to, that he's trying to raise awareness for, or anytime that he talks about his artist's process as a creator, and about all the highs and lows and hopes and dreams that accompany it, those are the things that give me huge respect for him, because it shows that he isn't this two-dimensional character. He is this person with all this nuance and depth and soul. And he reminds you to be honest, and to be open about what you're feeling, and not just put on this front, and not just be this this character that you can fall into. And when I first set about making this channel, I considered, would I create a persona that I would play on the channel, because I, at that point, because it took me a long time to finally get around to being confident enough to make these videos. At the time, I was watching a ton of like Linkara and the Cinema Snob, and a lot of these wonderful creators from what was then That Guy with the Glasses website, I believe. And the way that they created these personas and were able to infuse such character and such comedy into them was something that was attractive, and made me wonder, should I try to do that? But I finally decided against it, because I wanted the idea of the Artful Narrator to just be a nom de plume, just to be an internet call sign for me, not a character who was different from me, because I wanted the things that I talked about and the beliefs that I expressed to be recognized by the people who watched the videos as something that I believed in, something that was important to me, and that it wasn't just a belief or a stance that I was espousing because it fit within the context of the video, or it would work well leading up to some kind of gag or skit or comedic beat. And so I tried to make this idea of the Artful Narrator for the channel be at most the best of myself. And by the best, I mean me when I'm not anxious about tomorrow and not regretful about yesterday and not worried about whether or not the thing that I'm doing now is good enough. Just me when I'm talking about narrative, when I'm talking about the things that I love, me in those glimpses that I see when I'm having a spirited conversation with a fellow writer, or just with my friends about movies, or talking about some new idea that I've had for my novel with my family. And those moments where I have that flicker of self-awareness and step back within myself as I'm having this conversation, look and go, look how in the moment you are, look how much you are managing to just revel in your passion without worrying about all these different distractions. And so I wanted the Artful Narrator to be that. I don't always succeed in doing that, but still, that is what I endeavor to be when I make those videos, to be in the moment, to be fully embodying my passion, being myself at my best, or at least at my pretty good. And I've just been having trouble doing that this past 2 months, and it's a thing that I will figure out how to do again, but I do want to be honest with you about these things, and I hate having long absences on the channel where you don't know what's going on, and so hopefully something like this isn't, won't bring you down or won't make things worse. And of course, it didn't help that one of these 2 months that I was having trouble was November, because November is the big, I forget what it's called now, but it's the writer's equivalent of No Shave. November, it's the novel month or something like that. I don't know why I can't remember it now that I'm trying to make the video, but this time where you're not supposed to procrastinate, where you're not supposed to worry about being too perfect, you're just supposed to write and write and write and write and try to write a ton, and then step back at the end of it and see, like, okay, wow, I got a lot of writing in. Is it good? I don't know, but I wrote a bunch, and maybe there's some good ideas there. Maybe there's some things that I can go back and edit after the point, but it's this time about just expressing creativity and not letting that critical voice in your head make you check every single sentence that you write to see, is this good enough? It's just getting it out there, because that is what the process is when you start. You're just letting this story flow, and there's this beautiful quote by Mark Twain, and if I was making this a scripted video, I would have the quote up, and I hope you'll forgive me for not remembering it, because this, when I say a quote, I don't mean a sentence. This is a paragraph. This is a huge, beautiful, glorious quote. But in it, he talks about the writing process, and he's saying that when one starts out to write a story, they don't have the whole thing planned out. They have merely a few characters in mind and a couple scenes, and they try to tell that. Not the whole story, just that. But in trying to tell that, they realize that is going to take longer, and so this whole process just slowly grows and expands and becomes more beautiful, and you realize in the course of that process that you're just kind of along for the ride, and you're not worrying so much about whether this is good or bad. You are just writing. You're just expressing this thought, this idea that you had. And that's such a beautiful thing. And the fact that he ends the quote by saying that I know that this is indeed true, basically, because this happened to me many times. It's not about having this pristine vision of perfection. It's about sometimes all you have is that little spark, and it ignites this fire within you. And that is writing at its finest. But there are times where perfectionism and all these different things can drag you down, can make it harder, and that's where I am. And I know the last video I just made was Dare to be Imperfect, and that's something that is so important to me and something that I'm trying to embody, but it's just a constant struggle, because it's something you have to remind yourself every day that what you're doing is good enough and that it can work. And that's especially hard when you're depressed, just because you're tired all the time, and that creative energy is just so low, and that critical voice is so loud, and it just reminds you of all the things you're not doing or not doing well enough. And I'm not quite sure how to get around that for the moment as far as the trope videos go, that I just keep trying to work on them and trying to get to the point where I'm feeling better. One possibility would be to try to do a trope video equivalent of what I'm doing now, which is an unscripted video just talking about a trope that I love. And part of me thinks that could be a beautiful thing, because it could just be this unfiltered discussion about it, just all the beautiful aspects of it. And it would need to be the right kind of trope, something that does not have such a need for philosophical analysis and is more about the visceral reaction to it, and some little funny nuances that it has. And so I might try to do something like that and intersperse it with a few clips, but I don't know what the end result would be, and if it would just be radically and decidedly different from the other videos. And I don't know whether that would make it better or make it worse. I don't know. And just feeling like I'm just so far behind of what I should be doing or could be doing, that just and little things, even in trying to be a good friend and be a good son and things like that, because I've been trying to help out multiple friends with different things and being more successful with some than others. And one of my friends asked me to create an avatar for his channel, because he wants to get back into making writing videos, and the artist in me just thrills at that oh, that sounds so cool. And I'm just discussing these things and going, yeah, maybe we could do some minor animation sort of thing or something like that. But then just as I sit down to do it, the reality sets in that I haven't drawn in 10 years, and I used to draw all the time, and I'm super rusty. My ridiculous my drawing tablet that I could plug into the computer and use for editing the drawing after the fact in like a drawing program or whatever, something like that. It's so old it doesn't even work with my new computer, so I need to save up and buy a new one of those. And so far the only thing that I have after 2 months of trying to do this for him is just this laughably awful drawing, and so just ashamed to even show it to him. So I'm still trying to do better on that. And my mom's currently having some problems with memory, maybe a little bit of early stage Alzheimer's, I don't know, but she's just such a beautiful person and just so kind and so full of joy, and I just feel so bad that I can't always say the right thing to help her, and that sometimes my own anxiety makes me not react the way I should in terms of helping her with her memory and helping her just take care of the normal things she needs to do throughout the day. And it's just difficult. And this actually ties into another thing stupid enough this is a long weird video. In the last video that I just uploaded, the Dare to be Imperfect, I've been pretty lucky so far with copyright strikes. I try to use short clips. I try to be respectful, but sometimes I do fail in getting a clip short enough, because it's just some clips are so beautiful and you want to see the whole thing play out. And I found ways to be sneaky and shave off, cutaway scenes where the one person's talking and it cuts to show you someone else's, reaction to it or things like that. And I feel bad editing the scene down to just something so that it is of a different footprint than what the YouTube algorithm is searching for, so it won't get the copyright strike or however that works. I still don't fully know, but the last video I put up did get a copyright strike on it for the Doctor Who clip, and I've already created a separate version of that video and have that on the channel private, but I just can't bring myself to replace the video that is up. At the moment, all it has is commercials on it, and it's been monetized by BBC or whatever. And I know I could appeal the claim a second time. The first appeal was shot down instantly, but if I try this second stage of it, I could get a strike on my channel, and I've never had that happen, so I just don't know whether I'll risk it. But it's such a beautiful clip, because it's the clip where Matt Smith's The Doctor takes Vincent van Gogh to the future to see that his paintings have outlived him, and that they've not only outlived him and been remembered, but they are enjoyed by people, and that they've brought such wonderful solace, and their beauty has inspired all these countless people so many years after his death, and he just breaks down in tears, and it makes me cry, even just discussing it, because that's the artist's dream. Not necessarily that your work will be so influential or so spectacular that it will have some huge life after you're long gone, but just that it will be remembered, that it will outlive you, and that it will bring joy to people and hope to people, and that it will give back to the content of the world some happiness. And it's the specific line where the proprietor of that exhibit or whatever is telling people about Vincent van Gogh's paintings, and the Doctor asks him to describe, who is the greatest artist in your opinion, and he says without a doubt it's Vincent van Gogh, and that he was a man that took his torment and pain and transformed it into ecstatic beauty, and that pain is easy to portray, but that to take your pain and use it to create beauty and to show all the joy and wonder of the world, that's something that he says has never been before in that time, and that might never be done again, and that is something that is beautiful, and something that I would love to be able to try to do, because you see some people doing it sometimes, and that's because there's that fear that when you're anxious and when you're depressed, that the way you deal with that anxiety, if you don't do it correctly, if you don't find a way to heal yourself, that pain can lead you to inadvertently give pain to other people just by outbursts of anxiety, or by not being able to be there for them in the way that you would like, and that there's that fear that you can inadvertently create more pain in the world, and that's what I fear sometimes with my mom, that I'm creating more pain for her rather than helping her the way that she needs it. But I try to be hopeful in that, though, because I do also love the Star Whale Doctor Who, where they talk about that sometimes you can go through all this pain and all this hardship, and they can just make you kind. That instead of making you cruel, or instead of you inadvertently visiting that pain upon other people just through your own struggle to deal with it, that it can make you kind, and it can make you someone who knows this pain and wants to stop other people from knowing it, or who wants to alleviate their pain by bringing some joy into the world. And you see that with some people that are dealing with these sorts of things, and ideas of that, like some comedians or people like Robin Williams, that people who are in pain still maybe use that to inspire them bring joy to others, and that's a glorious thing. So that's something that I'd like to be better at doing, and I don't know, whether I can, but it's something I want to work towards. So anyway, the main point of this video is that I said trying to work on being less self-critical and find a way to possibly make some videos in the future that I do want to get back to the more fully scripted content, but I might try making a trope video that is just me discussing it, just telling it to you, and slide in the clips, but just go at one take, not perhaps always pick the best words or make it the most concise, but that could still have some beauty there, and be able to just share this love of tropes with you, and have that be the point of the video, and not trying to make it this nice little neat look into a specific trope. And so I'll possibly try to do that, and also just to try to remember to stay honest, and that to know that while you don't need to share all the ups and downs of every day, that you can still express when you're feeling down, and then also to remember to express the things that bring you joy. And I've already said the things about Narrator that bring me joy, but I do want to try in a moment of a little bit less negative reflection, a little bit more optimism, to make a video that doesn't have a direct need or a point to it in the larger context of writing, but just that can stand there as a testament of these are some beautiful things, these are some silly joys, this is my pile of good things, as it were, type of video. And so that just that expressing of honesty, that lending that extra perspective to this channel and to these videos, that I am not trying to just show you some sort of a pretend professor's display of different topics on tropes with no other glimpse behind it, that having those glimpses behind and seeing this is me at my most hopeful, and this is me when I'm sad, and this is me when I'm optimistic, and not making the channel entirely about that, but not being as afraid as I have been in the past to share those glimpses and to let that be a thing that's out there, because that does, while there are, I'm sure, many people that don't want to see this and hopefully won't be bothered by its inclusion on the channel, that every now and then something like this is good, because it does remind you that there are all these ebbs and flows, and that we're not perfect ourselves, despite all the effort we make to try to create perfect things, and that there is some comfort in that, and that being honest is always a good thing. So this has been a stupidly long, stupidly weird video, and I'm going to promise myself to have the courage to actually put this up on the channel. Final takeaways is that this is nothing necessarily worse than I've gone through before, and so it's something that I will recover from, but it's just taking a little bit of time, and I definitely might need to try some different creative avenues to get back in the swing of things. So we'll see if those off the cuff, one take, no unscripted trope videos, see if that might work, and just hope that we can all be real with ourselves when we're or being a little bit down, and not hold that in, but not let it drown us either, and look forward to what tomorrow might bring. So I will anxiously, oh wait, not anxious, that's not a good word. I'll optimistically look forward to putting more videos on the channel, and hopefully the change in quality won't be too drastic. And generally just try to focus on the good things, one of which is this beautiful experiment of being able to share things with you when it comes to writing, and occasionally when it comes to life, the universe, and everything. Thank you very much for putting up with this, for watching, and for supporting this channel, and riding out the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs. And I hope that these videos continue to have some element of diversion to it, or are in some way informative. Until next time.